Parliament withholds 2.5 billion kwacha allocation to Greenbelt Authority in the 2021-2022 budget. President Chakwera applauds military training soldiers undergo locally, which helps them earn global respect. And major shake-up at the Immigration Department sees relocation of 76 officers. And in sports, Chilima Sugar Company to announce sponsorship deal package with the Nomads next week. Now the news in detail. Parliament has withheld 2.5 billion kwacha allocation to Greenbelt Authority for what the lawmakers call misallocation and lack of proper organization at a statutory body. The allocation was meant for projects and other recurrent transactions. Parliament Cluster Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources co-chairperson Werani Chilenga says Malawians are not benefiting enough from the authority. As such, allocating over 70 million kwacha towards fees for children of 4 senior officers is an insult to Malawians and abuse of their tax. From Parliament, Andrew Viano filed this report. We'll give you that report in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, President Lazarus Chakwera has applauded the military training process Malawian soldiers undergo locally, which makes them command respect within and beyond the African region. Speaking after visiting field exercise training base for Malawi Defense Force soldiers at Luwawa Forest in Mzimba, President Chakwera says the training helps the country produce the best troops. Details in this report.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, who is also Commander-in-Chief of the Malawi Defense Force, MDF, says Malawians should have confidence that the country has soldiers that are not only well-disciplined, but also those that undergo proper training. Chakwera took time to visit the artillery and dug-in trenches within Luwawa Forest Reserves, where troops conduct their field exercise training, just to appreciate the kind of lessons that are undertaken in the jungle. He said Malawian troops are always held high even in foreign missions like at the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and that as their commander-in-chief, he felt it necessary to render support by appreciating what they do.
It's quite an honor for me, and I thank General Nunde and all the generals here, commanding officers. This is an eye-opener in order for us to appreciate what our defense forces are doing. I am really wanting to render my support in a bigger way so that they are encouraged, that we have forces helping other nations like in the DRC and so forth, and Malawi is always held high.
Chakwera is the first president to visit the military training ground for Malawian troops. Luwawa Forest Reserve is one of the few training bases for Malawian troops where final lessons for military trainings are taken. For Zodiak, this is Angela Mkandawili.
Defense counsel in the attempted judge's bribery case has closed its case in the High Court sitting Blantyre. This comes after final witness for Dr. Tom Mpingejila failed to show up to testify. Defense lawyer Patrice Nkono says the witness failed to show up on security reasons. Happy Germano has found this report.
The High Court in Blantyre resumed on Thursday afternoon to hear evidence from fourth and final witness of banker Dr. Thompson Mpingejila, but the witness failed to show up. This means that out of 4 witnesses, including the accused, only 2 have testified, since another one also failed to show up on Wednesday. Lawyer for Dr. Mpingejila, Patrice Nkono, says the witness failed to come for security reasons, consequently leading to closure of the case, which Dr. Mpingejila is being accused of attempting to bribe judges in the infamous presidential elections case.
We closed the case for the defense, so the judge is now given directions that we will return on the 30th of June to address her in closing arguments in final submissions.
The defense has, however, indicated it will seek intervention of the full bench of the Supreme Court of Appeal for Justice Dorothy Di Gabriel to stop presiding over the case. Lead lawyer Renek Matemba wonders how defense would proceed with that when the case has been closed.
We'll be surprised what will be the purpose of that application to stay the proceedings that have been concluded. Because at the moment, what we have to do is to file submissions. So we don't know whether the court will say the proceedings are still going on and stay the proceedings when in actual fact we'll have to file closing submissions.
Initially, Supreme Court Justice of Appeal Renzini Zikamanda dismissed Mpinganjila's application to stay the criminal trial, saying he saw no good reasons to halt the trial.
The United Nations Development Programme UNDP has pledged to continue working and supporting Malawi with good environmental management practices in the wake of negative effects of climate change. UNDP resident representative in Malawi, Jackie Komatsuba, made the remarks Thursday in Lilongwe during the launch of the Greenbelt project by the Lilongwe Wildlife Trust. In the project, the trust will, among other implement the Lilongwe ecological corridor to harshness of city's urban natural assets into a green, clean and prosperous city. Moving on, World Vision Malawi says 87% of learners in the country's junior classes in the primary schools do not know how to read and write, mainly due to the ineffective teaching skills by teachers. The organization's education technical program manager, Tandeka Nkhani, said in Mzuzu that this is compounded by lack of knowledge by the teachers due to shortage of textbooks. Fanan Nyirenda with more.
According to World Vision Malawi Education Technical Program Manager Mr. Tandeka Nkhani, many learners in lower grades in primary schools in the country do not know how to read or write. Mr. Nkhani said a survey they undertook in some districts in the country revealed that 87% of learners in standard 1 up to 4 find challenges in reading and writing, a development he says needs addressing. He attributed this to ineffective teaching by teachers who lack knowledge on how they can skillfully improve reading and writing among their learners.
We have just recently conducted an evaluation study for the strategy FY financial year 2015 to 2020. It's only 13% of the learners in our catchment areas who are able to read with comprehension, meaning 87% could not read with comprehension, which is a very big challenge that we need to work on.
Acting Chief Executive Officer from Zimba South Education Office, Mr. Maite Kayoyo, commended World Vision Malawi for introducing the spelling competition, describing it as a milestone in efforts to improve reading among primary school learners.
Most of the students, this time, they fail in spellings where we want them to be an accuracy in pronouncing of the words and making spellings right. So this has been a very good initiative.
Similar sentiments were echoed by Melen Konjela, a teacher at Chalunga Primary School in Mzimba, who said the spelling competition will also ease their work, as many learners will now be able to read and write.
And we as teachers, it will make our work easier, because if the learners know how to read and write, they know everything. World
Vision Malawi is holding the Spelling Bee competition, which will culminate in 2 national finals in partnership with Zodiak, Super Maheu, and the Ministry of Education. For Zodiak, I am Vanan Nyirenda.
United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, is cautioning against infringing rights of refugees when enforcing the relocation order that refugees living outside Zodiak refugee camp go back in the cage. UNHCR country representative Koume Modesta says the relocation should be done with a human face in line with human standards. Modesta said this in Lilongwe when Chinese government made available 20,000 face masks that would be distributed to Zodiak refugee camp. Chimombe Badata with more.
Last month, the court vacated an injunction by some refugees that restrained government from enforcing a relocation order that all refugees go back to Zodiak camp. Government is yet to enforce this order after the injunction was removed. But UNHCR country representative Kwame Modest fears for the lives and property of asylum seekers living outside the camp. He has asked government to respect rights of refugees when implementing the directive.
For us, what is important is that everything should be done with a human face, and the government has reassured us that everything will be done with a human face. So we'll follow that, everything follows the standards, humanitarian standards.
Modest was speaking in Lilongwe when receiving a donation of 20,000 face masks from the Chinese government. Leung Hong Yang explains why the donation has been made.
We want to do whatever we could to help to alleviate the sufferings and the challenges. So that is the reason why we donated the masks.
Zodiak refugee camp has 4 active COVID-19 cases out of the 132 cumulative cases that have to date been registered. The camp, however, is operating against its holding capacity of 10,000 refugees, as currently the population there stands at close to 50,000. For Zodiac, this is Chimwemwe Padata.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
Kungwonjezera mayunits ATNM kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tikolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunits ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Welcome back. Here are the top stories again. Parliament withholds 2.5 billion kwacha allocation to Greenbelt Authority in the 2021-2022 budget. President Chakwera applauds military training soldiers undergo locally, which helps them earn global respect. Major shake-up at Immigration Department sees relocation of 76 officers. And in sports, Salima Sugar Company to announce a sponsorship deal package with the Nomads next week. Moving on. There is a major shake-up at the Department of Immigration and Citizenship Services that has seen redeployment of 76 officers. Among those affected, according to Zodiac findings, are Maxwell Makoko, who has been transferred from the immigration headquarters to head the region office in the north. Justin Bello, who was in charge at Kamuzu International Airport, Kia, and is on his way to Songwe border post in Karonga. National Immigration spokesperson Joseph Chauwa has also been transferred from the headquarters to Dedza border post. Details with Alex Panda in this report.
This major shake-up is mostly affecting senior immigration officers within the ranks of inspector to deputy commissioner of immigration in the department. 76 of these officers are on the move. Zodiac has established that among those affected are Maxwell Makoko, a deputy commissioner of immigration, who has been transferred from the immigration headquarters to head the regional office in the north. Justin Barrow, an assistant commissioner of immigration, who was in charge at the Kamuzu International Airport, Kia, is on his way to Songwe border post in Karonga district. Others who were in the service have been handed a desk job in the Ministry of Homeland Security. Inspector Joseph Chauwa, who was National Immigration spokesperson, has also been transferred from the headquarters in Blantyre to Dedza border post. Inspector Pascal Zulu, who was at Mwanza border post, is expected at the regional immigration office as PRO. The transfers, according to an internal circular, are with effect from 31st May 2021, just a few days after suspended Director General of the department, Hannings Mlota, returned to office. For Zodiac in Blantyre, this is Alex Banda.
One of the players in the country's hospitality industry, Golden Peacock Hotel in Lilongwe, says since December has not felt the full weight of COVID-19 pandemic because of the continued influx of people beyond the country's borders for worship with Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. Marketing manager for Golden Peacock, Malumbo Kondowe, claims before Bushiri came to Malawi in November last year, the business was running at 5%.
In our case, we are experiencing almost 700 nights per month in terms of business inflow. We have seen many churches in the country, but in the case of Prophet Bushiri, business-wise, not only Golden Peacock Hotel, we can say we have benefited about 60% of the business, but other hotels too here in Lilongwe have benefited a lot. So we are saying, we looked at the church from the spiritual point of view, but in this case, we are also looking from the business point of view. We have benefited a lot, so we hope to maintain this kind of relationship so that we don't lose the business as a hotel, and we move forward together with his ministry. As a hotel, we can make more business. A hotel depends on accommodation, not meetings, because the profit margin for the meetings is just quite low. But in our case, we are saying accommodation is the mainstay. So if we are getting 60% of accommodation from Profit Bushiri partners, we are saying we are moving in the right direction. Although COVID-19 is not yet over, but we are not feeling very much the impact as of now.
Bushiri's spokesperson Ephraim Nyondo said about 350 people visit Malawi every week to meet and pray with the ECG leader.
Most of these people could come to South Africa, and in a month we're getting close to 10,000 people coming to Pretoria just to pray with him, because these people come to seek spiritual guidance from their leader, who's the spiritual leader, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. Now, when Prophet Bushiri came to Malawi and there was COVID restrictions, a lot of people were just praying with him through online. And you understand, we have one of the most biggest online churches, and we still do it up to now. But now, as relaxations in terms of COVID regulations are coming by, and people in terms of transportation, things are being relaxed, people now are coming again here in Malawi. And in a week we register close to 900 and 1,000 people. But what we do is we can't allow all of them to come at the same time, because we still have restrictions in terms of how people can gather and how people can travel. So what we do is we partition them, that this week let's have this figure, next week let's have this. So each and every week we get not less than 350 people coming into this country. Now, when these people come to this country, we have to help them where to sleep, how to travel, how to do. That's why sometimes we allow the Prophet to meet some of the people in Lilongwe. Sometimes we allow the Prophet to meet some people in Mongochi. Sometimes we allow the Prophet to meet people in Blantyre, so that we avoid too much gathering. We need to adhere to the COVID regulations.
Let's now have a look at sports. The much-anticipated sponsorship deal between Salima Sugar Company and Mighty Wanderers looks almost done. Company Secretary for Salima Sugar, Dr. Charles Tupi, has confirmed to Zodiak that they have finalized scrutinizing proposal documents and will announce the sponsorship package next week. Bright Kanyama has filed this report.
After a long wait for a new sponsor following the departure of Japanese car dealers B Forward Limited, the Laluban boys can now breathe a sigh of relief as they have managed to secure a sponsorship deal with Salima Sugar Company. There has been speculation over the past weeks over the deal, but Zodiak can confirm that the two parties have reached at an agreement, and the sugar producers will officially become the Laluban boys' sponsors from next week. Company Secretary for Salima Sugar, Dr. Charles Tupi, has confirmed the development, adding that the sustainability of the sponsorship will depend on the behavior of supporters as well as to some extent performance of the team. Dr. Tupi said the full details of the sponsorship package will be made public soon.
We decided that we should sponsor Wanderers Football Club as part of our social responsibility. Most of the supporters of Wanderers also benefit by Salima Sugar. So as part of thanking them, we decided that we should sponsor Wanderers Football Club. So far, we have looked at an agreement, and very soon we'll be coming up with the actual sponsorship in terms of the money involved. Our expectation is that the supporters of Wanderers Football Club, the Wanderers family, they should know that in football, you lose and sometimes you also win. When you lose, you must accept that it's part of football and they should not cause the violence.
Salima Sugar Company has unofficially been providing financial assistance to the Blantyre outfit, but this will be made official next week. Mighty Wanderers officials were not readily available for comments. For Zodiac, this is Bright Kanyama.
And that's what we had time for in this edition of news. But before we go, a look at the headlines again. Parliament withholds 2.5 billion kwacha allocation to Greenbelt Authority in the 2021-2022 budget. President Chakwera applauds military training soldiers undergo locally, which helps them earn global respect. Major shake-up at Immigration Department sees relocation of 76 officers. And in sports, Chilima Sugar Company to announce a sponsorship deal package with the Nomads next week. Visit our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. My name is Robert Kalua. Thanks for watching.